everybody, welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan. And I'm Ben.
Today we're doing two Marvel comics for you today. We got Princess Leia #1, written by Mark Waid and art by Terry Dodson. We got the all-new Hawkeye by Jeff Lemire and Ramon Perez. Looking forward to talking about these books because they're so freaking different. First of all, let's talk about Princess Leia #1. Initial thoughts. Let's go. What do you think?
I really dug the story in this book. Not as much the art.
Yes.
The art was very hit or miss for me, but I thought the story was cool and fun.
The story was middle ground for me. The art was not there. Didn't enjoy it. This book kind of fell short for me, and I think it was because mostly the art. But, you know, there are some good points to it.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that Mark Waid wrote it. I was like, oh, I read it without reading any of the credits. I knew Terry Dodson's work immediately. It's one of the most recognizable artists working today, and I generally like Terry Dodson's work. But I've never noticed some of the points that we made off camera about some of the issues that we all had with the art.
Yep.
I just never noticed them. I'm sure I will from now on. So I'm going to try not to point out all of them, just so we don't completely ruin anyone's reading experience.
Right.
But I enjoyed it. I thought it was very fluid. I thought the art really complemented the story. I was really kind of worried about it at first, because Dodson is a very different style, and I was not expecting to enjoy it in the Star Wars universe. There's a lot of points that the Dodsons make that really illustrate and highlight great moments from Star Wars. I'm thinking about General Dodonna, or Admiral Akbar, or the ships.
Yep.
Everything inorganic and everyone old looks super cool. Yes. And here's another thing, and we've talked about this before, like the designs of Leia. Every time anyone draws Leia,
It's really
doesn't look like Carrie
really
Fisher.
hard for some
Never does.
Yeah.
Unless Drew friggin' Struzan doing a poster.
And that's okay.
That's fine. I don't want to see Carrie Fisher in every version of Leia.
Right.
And I think that Dodson has the ability to give us a cool action hero style Leia.
As long as it's consistent.
And that's the problem. So let's talk about the art a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's basically a lot of what you said. The old people, the aliens look great.
Yep.
The tech looks great. 3PO looks perfect.
immaculate, yeah.
But I didn't like any of the three main characters from the movie.
Han, Leia, Luke.
Yeah, I didn't like the designs on any of them. And for me, it's just really distracting when a character looks so different from what I know them to look like. If it wasn't Princess Leia, if it was, some
anyone else,
unnamed character, I might not have a problem with it.
Or if it was Amidala.
Yeah, but Jesus, it was what Ben said. The drawings were very inconsistent, and some of the poses to me were just very awkward and weird looking.
Yes,
and not fun to look at.
It's funny because you'd think that a person striking a pose would be engaging and interesting.
Right.
I think Tiffany pointed it out off camera. She was saying how every moment that Leia is in is it's like a Vogue moment.
Yeah.
She's
which is so not Leia's character.
No.
The other problem. Leia was not that at all.
No,
She's the opposite.
especially because it takes place after A New Hope, and in A New Hope she's very stoic, straight-lined.
Yeah.
Except for that one moment.
She poses in
and
the
it's
cell.
in the cell, yeah. Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper? Yeah. That was the only moment that Leia was ever hot to me. Was that
Really?
Yep.
Not the slave bikini?
It never did it for me. You were saying you had a good point about some of the anatomy in the book.
The hands threw me off entirely. There was one scene where Akbar is instructing some people to, not screw around. And he mentions the hands. He's like, just because you have clumsy human hands doesn't give you the right to,
Then you zero in on them.
And I looked at the guy's hands, and aside from, just trying to be efficient while drawing them, the hand in the back, his left hand, looks like it's broken. And as Tiffany pointed out, the thumb is coming out the wrist.
Yeah.
It's so... For the one panel where you're talking about hands, you drew them terribly.
And it's weird because that's actually a consistent problem throughout this.
Well, then you can't stop seeing the
his
hands.
hands
Weird in many
why
of
they're
the
weird.
shots. Yeah.
I honestly, when I read it, Dodson's art is so fluid that I never noticed it.
Yeah, and I didn't notice the hands either.
I just washed over the book and just read it. But when you pointed it out, it's glaring. I like the idea of an old Darinian who has a problem with Leia, being a rebel.
Yeah.
Being an action heroine when she should be the preserver of their culture. Interesting idea. I don't know if it fits in Star Wars.
The problem was everybody was echoing the same thing.
Yes.
And I'm okay, A, that's unrealistic that every character would have the same opinion on that. And B, I didn't agree with any of them.
No.
That's bullcrap. Well, and it's there needs to be someone else who Leia can talk to.
I was expecting Luke to be that character.
Yeah,
he wasn't,
and
he kind of was. He tries to be, but he's also too much of a tool.
Yeah.
How about the fact
which is consistent?
How about the fact that Yvonne, I'm guessing her name is Yvonne.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't Ivan.
Was taught by Leia's mother?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Like she knew them
how
personally.
weird of a
She had
connection is that?
Well, yeah.
No.
Yeah. On the other hand, I do like that they're addressing
Some neat points.
so the whole like Leia's entire like people was destroyed.
Yes.
That should be a thing.
No,
that-
it should be a
like-
major plot point in Star Wars.
and we get it in this book.
Do we recommend Leia?
I do, yes. Not a like enthusiastic recommendation,
Right.
but I enjoyed it enough. I'd say pick it
Yeah.
up, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. Go ahead. And pick it
Yep,
up.
I think it's a good compliment to the main Star Wars story
Yeah.
that has a totally different tone.
Right.
I definitely recommend it more than Darth Vader.
Oh yeah,
Clearly.
Yeah.
I'm not super into it, but I want to see what happens with her and Yvonne. Like, that's just...
Yes,
That's
I like
going to
that.
be intriguing.
Yeah.
Just not where they're going.
Oh yeah, the end. Enter Naboo. How about exit?
Oh God.
Naboo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please
that
no.
was the worst.
I hope
part.
they go to the Gungan City. That's exciting. Bam. And now on to all new Hawkeye #1 by Jeff Lemire and Ramon Perez on art. I'm really excited to see Ramon Perez getting more mainstream comic work. Good for Ramon Perez as well. This is on the heels of a hugely popular run by Matt Fraction on Hawkeye. He like reinvigorated the character. He created a huge groundswell of support for Hawkeye. You wouldn't believe Hawkeye be this popular, but he is.
Interesting.
And it's because of the series that they just canceled and replaced with this one. That said, I liked it. What are your thoughts on Hawkeye #1?
I also liked it. In general, it wasn't my favorite like depiction of Hawkeye ever, but I thought it was solid.
I thought it was very like it was still steeped in what happened, so it was like it wasn't really all new at all.
Yeah.
Didn't feel new.
Yeah, and I didn't really know what happened. So
No, like
it was all new to me.
I only
but
read like
didn't
a couple of
understand
issues of the first
backstory.
run, and I was like, so I'm lost.
Yeah.
You?
I mean, I wasn't a huge fan. Mm-hmm. Just because the stories didn't mirror themselves all that well.
Right.
I
You mean
thought
the flashback?
Yeah,
the flashbacks
and
and
the present story.
Like, they connected a little bit with the story. Like, dialogue back and forth. So,
Right.
like, yes,
Yeah, they
the
mirrored each
words
other.
run into each other. But the actions, not so much, and I really don't understand the point of what was happening with him and Barney. Because I don't know Barney.
No, it's his brother.
Yeah.
That's it.
Had no idea. He had
Well, and he's like an evil Hawkeye.
I didn't know that.
what?
Oh.
Yeah.
There was, I will say, in the flashbacks, there were
Yeah.
some creepy smiles with them trying to catch the frogs.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought Barney was going to be a
I
psychopath.
thought he was going to kill the frogs
I thought so,
too.
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Well, we're talking about the story. Let's talk about the writing. What do you think of Lemire's story of Hawkeye? I particularly liked his interaction with Kate Bishop,
Yes.
the female Hawkeye from Young Avengers.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
And I assume they're going to kill Clint Barton at some point and then replace him with Kate Bishop and make a fucking Hawkeye book.
Could be, or maybe they'll spin her out into.
Her own, but like she would be
Unfortunately,
all
she would
new
be
Hawkeye.
So yeah, they'd have to establish a new name for her.
I would take that in a
They're
heartbeat.
purposely not doing.
Yeah.
So.
Weird.
Yeah.
But I like their interactions. I like them like working together.
Yeah.
Them talking back and forth was great.
Their
Yeah,
their
they're
their
funny.
dialogue is great. I like.
And the action in the book was great.
Yes.
I mean, it's a very like rock simple story.
Oh yeah, I'm glad.
which is good, yeah.
Like I don't need it to be like multi-tiered with all this shit about Hydra or God knows
Yeah.
what. Like let's
Yeah.
just make it be about two people who can shoot arrows and be cool.
Yeah, and they're infiltrating
funny.
the base,
Cool. Yeah, and yeah.
they fighting a bunch of minions.
Yep, and we even get like a little bit of a backstory on like Hawkeye and his brother. Okay, cool, fine.
Right.
It's
Which the backstory, the art is gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
I love.
Oh,
that.
yeah. It looked beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little weird.
It was. Well, it's supposed to be a little like it's a little off, which I like. Like it's just a memory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's giving you something where you're like it's not quite like it was.
Well, it's a
Not
little
quite
surreal in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
it begs the question of like, well, how does it tie in?
Yes.
and maybe it doesn't tie in very well to this part of the story, but it might in the next issue. You might see like, oh, I see, that's why they did.
Yeah,
it. I mean,
we'll
the only
see.
parallel I could really draw was that there was running in both.
Yes.
You know, getting in over their heads, maybe.
Yeah.
Kind of theme. The colors are so same. The setting is there's so much sameness to everything that's going on.
Yeah.
That I felt like they really need to visually like insert some other stuff there, so it's not just page after page after page that looks kind of similar.
You know what I really like?
What's that?
Little tidbits that got thrown in. Mm-hmm. Like one of the action sequences where Hawkeye, girl Hawkeye, it's Kate Bishop, it like stabs a guy with an arrow as she's like kneeing some guy.
Yes.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Another scene where a Hydra agent is eating a sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that that makes a story real.
Which makes it all the more horrible.
Yeah, that they're just being shot with arrows. Yeah, 'cause it's
Well,
funny,
I mean, they're trying to kill the
it's always an interesting character, Hawkeye, because like he's one of the few superheroes who A has no powers, but B uses a deadly weapon
Right.
as his main source of power.
Right.
Would we recommend all new Hawkeye #1?
Yes.
Yeah,
Can-
I also recommend it. If
Me
you
also.
liked the previous series, don't light your torches and get your pitchforks just yet. I think it's going in a good direction.
Yeah, I agree.
So there you go.
So it should be interesting.
Hey, Princess Leia #1 and all new Hawkeye #1, all both from Marvel Comics. We're a week late because we were at PAX. Click the invitation here to see our PAX episode of Back Issues, where we had nothing to do with video games whatsoever.
Right.
And thanks so much for watching, everybody. Hey, click the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys next time with an all new Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Ben.
So long, guys.
Later.
He also did a really cool Jim Henson book called Tales of Sand.
Okay.
It was like a lost Jim Henson script that they turned into a comic. It's really boring.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a Jim Henson movie script.
Is
so.
it kind of like,
Right.
just the giant monsters at the
No,
beginning
there's
of
no
Dark Crystals?
monsters. It's like all the boring parts of Dark Crystal, but it's all about regular people in like a dream.
Oh.
It's like yeah, it's really boring.
Because I imagine, like,
There's
if
no
it was
dialogue.
if it was the
about
first
that.
part of the Dark Crystal where it's just the big guys,
Yeah,
and like it
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
change from that,
That would be boring.
That would be
as
a
hell.
boring story.
It's as boring as that,
All right, I'll avoid that.
but it's gorgeous. Like it looks great and it's beautifully bound. It's a book that you need to own, and then you look at it and you're like, oh fuck.